Hi everyone, Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio, joined alongside Madison Pitsch. Madison, it's nice to be back on the desk with you again, reliving our glory days from the weekends of old, many moons ago.
It sure is nice to be back on the desk with you, Bill.
Well, good to have you again. Today, we are talking about, again, a special series that you've been running this week, Hungry in the Heartland. Again, we can't air a 12 or 13 minute package in the newscast, but we can cut it up and air it
Trust me, I tried to get him to do it.
We can cut it up and air it a few minutes at a time, but today we're going to play out the whole package again for everyone to be able to watch the whole thing in its entirety. But wanted to ask you some questions about this story that you've been working on. Again, you put a lot of time into this, and again, it's a topic that you're passionate about. So again, to just kind of start, kind of give us the 40,000-foot view. What is the story about?
The story is about food insecurity in rural Nebraska, or at least that's how it started. I originally got the idea to do this story when I met with a woman for a different story who lived in Thayer County, whose children have celiac disease. So she had to drive a significant distance to get food that her children could actually eat.
And again, for celiac is basically you're allergic to wheat.
Yeah. Gluten. Yep.
Gluten.
So she had to do a serious haul to get her children food that they can eat. So that kind of propelled me on this path. And I think we talk about food insecurity a lot in rural communities, but we don't actually dig in and look at what that means. So at first it was, I wanted to highlight the hunger in rural Nebraska, but then as I was digging, I thought, I don't just want to look at the problem, because there are people in this county working to be the solution, to fight the hunger, to provide food to people who need help, who are willing to help their neighbors. So that's kind of what the story morphed into, is hunger and people working to fix the problem.
And so you say food insecurity. What exactly does that mean? Are we just talking about people who don't have access to grocery stores, or just or just lack of food at home? Is it a broad kind of definition?
It is a very broad issue. Food insecurity can mean a lot of things. Maybe you don't have enough money to go and buy food. Maybe you don't have access to nutritious food, fruits, vegetables, dairy, protein. Maybe you don't have a car to get you to a grocery store to get you food. It really, you could be balancing paying your electric bill. You could have to choose between paying for gas or electricity in your home or buying nutritious, healthy food. So food insecurity is really when food may not always get to be the top priority for you.
So one of the things, and you'll hear about this when we run the story here in just a second, and it really caught my eye, and again, kind of makes you say, wow. Just in southeastern Nebraska, over 13,000 children that are food insecure.
Yeah.
When you first heard that, when you were putting this together, kind of, what was...
It's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's upsetting.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like this is an issue that it's not difficult to solve. Just, get more food to these people or give them more access. But
And it's especially ironic considering how much agriculture means to the state of Nebraska, to the state's economy. We have got all these hungry children, and we are essentially the start of the food chain here. We make the corn, we make the beans, we've got the cattle. So it is upsetting to hear that, and it's a big number. It's bigger than I expected. What was your reaction to it?
It definitely surprising. My kids at school, when we were younger, when you had a noon dismissal, it was just a noon dismissal. But now their early dismissals are at 1 o'clock, so they have an opportunity to have lunch at school, because there are those kids who don't have maybe as much access to food at home. And it really is, again, as a parent, it's just like, I don't want my kids, let alone someone else's kids, to be hungry.
And I think an important thing to highlight here, Bill, is that none of this food insecurity and children being hungry, it's not malicious.
No.
It is never malicious. What parent doesn't want to feed their child?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just the fact of the matter, the situation that you're in, is that you cannot help your children. But there are resources that you have available to you. It's just sometimes you don't always know where to look.
Yeah. And so you've done a wonderful job putting this story together. So again, let's go ahead and play this out, and again, we'll talk on the other side about some of the, more issues and questions that this story brings out.
that functions as the start of the food chain. We like to think of ourselves as the breadbasket. When one side of the road is a field of corn and the other a field of beans, it's hard to imagine anyone would go hungry. But tucked away in these rural communities are often hungry bellies.
Food that we primarily grow in our state is for livestock. It's part of the food chain. So yeah, it is sometimes dissonance there.
It takes a patchwork of community members, food banks, and pantries, and some creativity to make sure no one is missing a meal. And one of the people making a splash this summer is Deb Boleyn. She manages the pool in Hebron during this summer and teaches during the school year. No matter what hat she's wearing, she thinks about hungry kiddos a lot. That's especially true during the summer.
Every day at the pool, we just saw a need for some kids that were coming hungry and they didn't have money to buy snacks.
Last year, the pool offered free Lunchables. Any kid could get one, no questions asked. This year, Deb thought, let's take it up a notch. Enter Lunch with the Lifeguards.
As we were opening the pool, I was just trying to think of something catchy, and I thought, with lifeguards, and I thought, Lunch with the Lifeguards, let's try that.
That's how we get here, at the shady ballpark picnic tables across the street from the pool. She says the first week saw a great response and the community has jumped in to help.
Deb had posted on Facebook and a little brochure about Lunch with the Lifeguards. We felt like our business wanted to give our donation by providing a meal for these students.
Now Deb is hoping the program gains momentum and reaches more and more people in Hebron.
Doesn't matter your income, doesn't matter what you do, anybody's welcome to come and have lunch.
Just be sure to wait an hour before you go swimming. In Thayer County alone, 1 in 11 people are food insecure. Zooming in, 1 in 9 children are food insecure. Now, food insecurity can mean a few different things. Maybe you live a long way from a grocery store and don't have reliable transportation. Or maybe your regular income isn't enough to reliably cover your food budget every month. Maybe you don't have access to nutritious food like fresh produce, meat, and dairy. Across the food bank of Lincoln's entire 16-county service area, they estimate nearly 12% of children are food insecure. That's more than 13,000 kids who are having trouble focusing in a classroom because they are hungry. Thayer Central Schools estimates that around 34% of their students get free or reduced lunches. Being hungry during the school year has serious implications.
To see a child that's hungry in the classroom it's heartbreaking. You can tell there's no focus there. They're nervous about going home, and it's not because of anything that's wrong in the household. It's because they want a meal. They want to be at school. They know they're getting fed here.
During the school year, Thayer Central covers the bases. Breakfast and lunch are served and backpacks of food are sent home over the weekend. But summer is a different story. They can't provide a summer meal service because on paper, there's not enough need to qualify for funding. But the administration says they believe there's more hungry kids out there than the data they have currently shows. They're worried it's a stigma holding people back from applying. They want families to know they wouldn't just be helping their own child be full, but also the community.
In our district, most of the areas around here would qualify for a fully reimbursed free and reduced summer lunch program. If we had just a few more families who filled out that paperwork and qualified, the entire district would then qualify for that. And that would lead us to be able to serve the majority of the population of the district. And in fact, anybody would be able to have those summer lunch programs, even if you didn't qualify for free and reduced. So we'd be able to fill the needs of all the kids in our district.
Once again, the community is showing up to support the school the best they can. A beef booster club sends the district beef that's served twice a week. And through donations from local churches and organizations, a milk fund was started for the elementary schoolers.
And that milk fund provides milk to students who want milk, basically, with their afternoon snack in the classroom.
Because what's better than an ice cold chocolate milk after recess. Nothing, and no kid should be left out. The director of the food bank says that stigma holds a lot of people back from asking for help that's ready for the taking.
We're still working through barriers of shame and guilt. Some people don't want to accept government food if it means that they have to sign their name. I mean, there is stigma and there is shame that we're still trying to work to overcome. And we'll keep doing that as part of our work because food is basic. We cannot thrive, an individual cannot thrive if we don't have food for mental health, for physical health, for all of it.
The only food pantry for Thayer County is tucked away in a 20 by 10 room in the back of the Blue Valley Community Action's thrift shop.
We will order over 2,000 pounds of food a month. Right now we serve anywhere from 60 to 70 families, and that's usually a couple hundred individuals a month.
Alice says that's a big uptick.
The price of food, it's very, very expensive, even for our working families.
The rising cost of food and wages staying about the same is a 1-2 punch. And as the only food pantry in the county, they're feeling the effects.
Our food pantry behind me, you can see that actually it looks really low for us. So this is low as far as our food supply. So usually it's stocked.
The pantry gets some support from the Food Bank of Lincoln. Delivery trucks come about every 2 weeks with a lot of shelf-stable food and produce. Herman says the community is also a major player in feeding the county.
The churches really provide us with those needed items: milk and bread, condiments, snacks for kids, cereal we can't get, instant potatoes, that's something they don't have.
People can feel ashamed because they need help. Blue Valley has accounted for that, tucking the food pantry into a closed-off section of their thrift store with an exit in the back.
We are here to help. Times are hard. We are not here to pass judgment on anybody, and we want to help those families and those individuals. Everything is done confidential.
If you need help, all you have to do is call Blue Valley Community Action of Thayer County. You'll fill out some paperwork and make an appointment. And people at the pantry want you to know you have every right to nutritious food, and you should take advantage of these programs, because what else are neighbors for? Children can count on meals at Thayer Central. What about older people? Not only do many retire and their income changes, but they also start losing reliable means of transportation. If it's harder to walk or harder to drive, getting your food becomes exponentially more difficult. Thayer County is small and rural. There are just over 5,000 people living there, with 5 grocery stores across the west central part of the county. For places like Belvedere, it's about a 7-mile hike to the next grocery store. At the Food Bank of Lincoln's hometown fresh truck, an average of 28 households out of an estimated 50 stop by each month for fresh produce.
If you live more than a walking distance from that grocery store, having the resources or transportation to get to the food is a hurdle, especially when we're talking about rural communities.
That's why Carol is at today's distribution. She's picking up food for a friend that can't drive.
She wants to come to this, but she doesn't have a way. So I got her stuff and I will take it to her. It just is one of those things, and it's what we do.
The Food Bank of Lincoln's hometown fresh truck makes its way down to Belvedere once a month, armed with shelves of free food. I talked with a woman who didn't want to go on camera, who was picking up food for herself and her family. She says this truck eases the pressure of providing food.
Our closest grocery store is Bruning, which is 6 miles, and Hebron, which is 7 miles away. And it works okay. They're both great grocery stores, but basically what the food bank supplies just really basics for people.
So once a month at noon, people start lining up to get food from the truck.
Well, we had been averaging between 30 and 35.
Belvedere's population is 48.
It's made us maybe more people aware that there is hunger and people need it. And you can tell by the amount of people that have come that it is an important thing.
Linda Hudson was part of the reason the truck came in the first place. She says some people come from outside of the village. She says when she was in talks to bring the truck here, there was some hesitation.
I do have people approach me and come back with that statement that we don't need to accept free food. But I tell them, you know, it's for everybody.
Now she's got a singular goal to let people in Thayer County know
that it's not a disgrace to accept free food.
Rural grocery stores are often the hub of life in a small town.
Started as a sack boy in the 70s.
And the responsibility of feeding the community, between 12 to 1,400 people walking through these doors each week, is not one Steve Anderson takes lightly.
Bottom line, we need to take care of the people.
So when I tell him that 1 in 11 people in Thayer County are hungry, he's surprised.
We're in rural America. We take care of our own. And it looks like I need to step up my game a little bit.
Steve says Central Market is not a big store, and they can't order with the capacity of larger groups like a Walmart or Hy-Vee.
We're not large enough to buy, you know, the half pallets, the pallets of fruit. You know, we're buying 5 cases, 1 case, and therefore you run into the problem of bad fruit or vegetables, but it's the roll of the dice.
On top of that, trucks deliver twice a week, meaning gauging interest in fresh fruit and vegetables and making sure they stay fresh is tough.
You might be looking at 7 days for strawberries to come in.
I also wondered, what would the price difference be between a small town grocery store and a local supermarket like Walmart? A party-sized bag of chips is about 50 cents more expensive in Hebron. A 9-ounce package of deli turkey is $3.49 more in Hebron. And the same size box of Cheerios is $3.21 more in Hebron. But it's part of the price you pay to get food into the store. And this local grocer plays a huge role in helping. He stores the beef for the Thayer Central Beef Boosters Club. He supplies hygiene and food items to the local food pantry. The pantry says they couldn't operate without him. It's all just part of what it means to be a grocery store in rural Nebraska.
Wow. You watch it, you know, you feel bad. You don't want people to go hungry.
Yeah.
But, you know, then this is, you know, you focused on Thayer County in this story.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just a Thayer County problem.
Absolutely not.
There are 93 counties in Nebraska, and there is food insecurity in all 93 counties.
Yeah.
And in Lincoln, too.
Yeah. Yep.
And Omaha.
Yep. We often think of food insecurity as being a rural issue or a poorer community issue, but you can find it anywhere.
And the problem, and a big problem is you know, people don't want to admit that maybe they are food insecure, and it's hard sometimes to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. You could see that in almost every single one of those stories. When I was meeting with Deb, the woman who ran Lunch with the Lifeguards, she told me she had families coming up to her to say, don't let my child accept that meal. Don't let my child take a Lunchable because we don't need free food.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying, no, you know, this is for everybody. Any child can come and get it. This is for everyone. There's no reason to withhold food from a child.
Yeah.
When I was talking with superintendent at Thayer Central, he was saying, you know, 34% of their children are getting free and reduced lunches, but he thinks that number could be more. And this summer, they weren't able to offer any kind of assistance because on paper, they just don't have enough kids who need that help, but he knows that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So they're encouraging families to apply if they need it, because that will help not only their child, but also the community, because people are getting more food.
Yeah, so maybe even if you're not sure that you maybe you think we're good. Maybe apply anyway, because I think like Eric said, you could be helping another family who does definitely need it.
Yeah. And with the food pantry in Thayer County, it's right on the main street in Hebron. They have created an exit in the back, so if you're carting out food, you don't have to feel ashamed or embarrassed or scared that somebody might see you. In Belvedere, Linda Hudson said they've had people say, we don't need to accept this food.
But you have what 30 to 35 of the almost 50 residents?
Yeah, nearly 30 of 50. And now, to be fair, the Hometown Fresh truck, not everybody is coming in from Belvedere. There are people who come in from other places, people who are on their lunch break who stop by. Still, to be roughly around 50% of that village's population coming in, I think that goes to show that people need help. And again, this is not a malicious thing to not be able to pay for your food. It's not something to be embarrassed of. It's obviously a situation that a lot of people are in.
I mean, again, even maybe what you would say middle class people right now, with the way food prices have gone, me and my wife, we had to switch from kind of grocery shopping at Hy-Vee to go into, one of the bigger box stores because, a $300 grocery store trip at Hy-Vee maybe gets us a cart full.
Yeah.
$300 grocery store trip at Sam's Club or Walmart the money just goes a little bit farther.
And I know in that story I talked about 1 in 11 people in Thayer County are food insecure. That's 470 people out of a nearly 5,000 population county. When you look at children, it's 1 in 9. That's 140 kids. And, those kids deserve every right to food, which will help them learn and grow and become productive members of Thayer County.
And I mean, I think there's probably an argument too that again, by providing this assistance, you're maybe breaking that cycle, because if you're hungry in school, maybe you're not doing well in school, and if you don't do well in school, then there's probably a higher chance you're, maybe not going to do as well financially in life or something like that.
Well, you heard Superintendent Miller say that. He said it's heartbreaking to watch a child. It's heartbreaking to watch them be hungry in a classroom.
So like I said, this is a problem that doesn't have a difficult solution, but we need people. What do we need people to do, Madison? I mean, is it just donations? Find your local food pantry. What's the best way people can help?
Yeah. First, I want to give a big thank you to the people in Thayer County who were willing to sit down and talk with me about this issue, because it's not easy to talk about.
It's very personal.
It is very personal. It can be embarrassing. But all of the people I spoke with were so solutions oriented. They saw a problem in front of them and they decided to do something about it. And I think that's a really good model for solving food insecurity in your own community.
That's a really good model for solving almost any issue in your community.
Deb Boleyn saw that there were children who were hungry at the pool. So she decided to offer them lunch. And she got the community behind her. She had people coming in to sponsor lunches once a week. And then they had so much support, they bumped it up to twice a week. So I think what you can do, yes, you can make donations to your local food bank, to your local food pantry. You can also just see what you can do in your own neighborhood, because if you're helping one person, that's making a difference. If you're helping 2 people, making a difference. So.
Well, Madison, you did a wonderful job putting the story together. Again, you'll be able to find, again, this full version, as well as, again, our conversation on the 1011 platforms, as well as on YouTube as well. So thank you again so much for hopping in and joining me today. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Again, as always, make sure you keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online, for all the latest news, weather, and sports. We'll catch everyone next time.